as we jump into our lead story of the day with nationally syndicated radio host Dana Loesch completely unloading on the hosts of The View. Now, there's this whole thing going on with Herschel Walker. You've all seen him before. He's somebody that supports Trump. I think he was an ex-Heisman Trophy winner in football. Well, supposedly, rumor is that he paid for some girl/woman to have an abortion. And Dana Loesch called this woman or women supposedly skanks. Okay, not supposedly, she did call him skanks. And the View host didn't like that aspect of Dana saying that and doing that, which they all had their little takes on. And Dana completely eviscerates them. So let's start with Whoopi Goldberg adding in her 2 cents on what she thinks about all this. And then we'll jump into Sunny Hostin adding her 2 cents, and then Anna Navarro as well. And then we will top it off with Dana just completely slapping him right upside the head. So here's what kind of happened and kick things off with Whoopi Goldberg here.
If the Daily Beast story is true, you're telling me Walker used his money to reportedly pay some skank for an abortion, and Warnock wants to use all of our monies to pay a whole bunch of skanks for abortions.
First of all, ma'am, there's a lot of women who find themselves in a position of having to have an abortion. How dare you call them skanks, first of all?
Okay, aside from the whole skank thing, you don't have to have an abortion. You want to get an abortion. There's a big difference there between have. And this is the whole idea that we saw with AOC and the other Democrat Party, as well as the progressive left, pushing this whole thing about being forced to do things. You're forced to get a second job. You're forced to get a third job. You're forced to give birth. All this is about force, which it isn't. You chose to have sex, and then you chose to have an abortion or not have an abortion. You either choose to birth the child or you don't. So it's all you're choosing, but we're making it seem like there's force here. Nobody's pointing a gun to your head. I know they want to make it seem like that's happening, but it's not. And look, on the whole side of it, calling those women skanks, it's not my choosing of words. I probably would not have called them that. But, you know, hey, what was said was said. Let's continue.
And I believe the whole point is that Walker is saying, I believe that this is murder, I believe that, and has paid, supposedly, for women to have abortions. That's the point. If we're gonna have these discussions, please stick to them and not go off calling people names. Because I'm keeping calling you a name out of my mouth because it's not the right thing to do. Now,
right.
It's just
Isn't The View known to just call people names? I mean, Sunny Hostin just the other week called Ron DeSantis Death Santis. Don't even get me started with Joy Behar on the name she's called people. So don't give me this whole thing of like, oh, well, I don't like when people call people names and all this other stuff. That's literally what you do on a monthly basis on The View, is call people names. You rip into them, you tear into them. And that's not even the end of it, folks. Let's continue here.
Exposes the moral rot that's taking over my party. Like, listening to that, I can't defend that for a second. As a pro-life woman, to hear someone else like Dana, who is pro-life, call women who get into situations where they need abortions skanks is just shameful, and I will not defend that.
Where again, that woman, I'm sorry, she's new on The View. It really makes me wonder if she's actually a Republican. She's probably a registered Republican, but I've listened to the things that she says, and she's talking about the rot of the party and all these things. She's an anti-Trumper, by the way, so that kind of tells you where she's at on things. You know, she might be a registered Republican, but it really, really makes me wonder if she truly is a Republican, or she was just hired to go on The Viewpoint to push the anti-Trump narrative and how there's rot within the Republican Party, conservatives. I'm not saying there isn't any rot. We're talking about politicians here. I'm sure there is some rot here and there on both sides. Heck, all in DC. It's called a swamp for a reason, folks. But again, it just makes me wonder if that's truly the side that she's on, or she's really just playing sides and masquerading as a Republican. In actuality, she's more in line probably with the Democrat Party or a centrist. Now, what's unbelievable here is they don't want to call people names. They don't want to slander anybody and do these things. But now we have Sunny Hostin here adding in the mix of, you know, I don't even know what conservatives believe in anymore. I don't even know what they're really into. I just can't figure it out. And then she pushes this whole moral argument. Let's go ahead and roll it here.
I just wonder, what do Republicans stand for? You have Dana, who used to be I think the spokesperson for the NRA, right? And so She's the spokesperson for the NRA. She's a spokesperson for freedom. She's a spokesperson for the AR-15. We should be allowed to kill life with that. Yet now also she's saying women that have abortions are skanks and that it's okay to have that abortion if your man is paying for it. What do they...
Can we just time out real quick and we'll continue? Did she just try to make the connection between you having a Second Amendment right to protect your life as well as your liberty and also from a foreign government as well? Or that of which domestic, meaning your government goes tyrannical, which was the initial purpose of the Second Amendment, and trying to correlate that to abortions. One, you have literally your right to protect yourself from somebody that's trying to kill you versus you willfully going down and killing an innocent life. Those are two different things. I understand there's people that do take innocent lives with the AR-15 and other firearms, predominantly handguns, by the way. So this is a typical thing from The View, wanting to single out the AR-15 rather than handguns, shotguns, and everything else. It's just the cherry picking here is unbelievable, and the whole morality argument is just really, really rich here. Let's go ahead and continue.
The Republicans stand for? I mean, it just seems to me that there was a time when it was really easy to define conservative principles. You've mentioned them many times. Anna has mentioned them many times. Sarah has mentioned them many times. Limiting the size and reach of government, reducing taxes, strengthening national defense, and holding firm to traditional moral values. What the hell was that we just saw?
It's amazing that it's like all of a sudden they go down to the moral values, which is true. That's something that conservatives do hold. Everything that she listed was spot on. But it's amazing that all of a sudden, because you call somebody a skank or you call somebody a name, all of a sudden you don't hold on to traditional moral values. Which, you know, again, that's why I said I probably wouldn't have chosen those words, but I've called people stupid. I've called people idiots. Doesn't mean you're wrong. Look, if Dana really does believe that those people, those individuals were skanks, then a fact's a fact, even if it hurts their feelings or not, or it's not the correct verbiage. It doesn't mean you're morally wrong. It doesn't mean you're morally incorrect. I mean, heck, people got upset when I called Joe Biden stupid, or I called Karine Jean-Pierre stupid. Stupid is literally in the Bible. If you look at Proverbs, it's literally there in the Bible. God calls people stupid. So I think it's okay to call people stupid. Hell, the things that are in the Bible, some might look as morally acceptable versus morally unacceptable. It's purely subjective, folks. But she's going to push this whole thing like she's holier than thou above all of us. It's just rich coming from a lady that literally called DeSantis Death Santas, but we don't want to attack each other, right? We don't want to attack people, name call them, or anything like that. And speaking of not attacking people, literally the host of The View, that's what they do, is attack women. And then you have Anna Navarro saying, I hate it when we attack women and I hate when we attack other women. When that's literally what they do on a week-to-week basis, and she has the cojones to say that. Let's just see the clip.
Women attack other women. So if she's calling the woman who got the abortion, the women he sleeps with, which are many, because he's got.
Is he married? I thought
he's been married. He's been
married.
Okay, but here's the point I'm making.
So it's not an affair.
Okay, if they are skanks, then what are you suggesting, ma'am? That we send the man who sleeps with skanks to the U.S. Senate because his judgment is also good? Are we letting him off scot-free just because he's running for Senate? And we're going to put all the blame on the women, which is, I think, a very shameful thing to do for other women. Listen, this is the bottom line. This is not the Republican playbook. This is Machiavelli.
Yeah.
This is war.
Yes.
This is the art of war, and this is for the whole enchilada. Probably the race in Georgia could very well determine who is in charge of the Senate, whether it's a Republican majority leader or whether it's a Democrat majority leader. And that means setting the entire agenda.
But what is the Republican agenda? Because as of 2020, the Republicans decided not to put forth a national platform. So if we're talking about the total enchilada, we're talking about power. What is it that the Republicans
For the next 2 years, the Republican agenda is opposing everything that Joe Biden proposes. They're making sure that he cannot claim the bipartisan legislation and the bipartisan victories, which he has many of, that he's managed to pass in the...
I'm sorry, folks. I can't continue with this. People watch this show day in and day out. It's so bad. It's so bad. She is partially correct here. Again, just because I'm a conservative Republican doesn't mean I agree wholeheartedly with what every Republican or conservative does or what Trump does, DeSantis does, or whatever it is. Look, I'm an average American Joe here, folks, just as all of you are. I'm not beholden to any party here. She is correct with if Herschel Walker was paying women to have an abortion, then there is a case to be made that, look, if that person was a skank, do we have to call Herschel Walker a skank as well, or vice versa? It doesn't matter. Both parties are to blame here. But the conversation, what that started it, was what Dana Loesch called the woman was being a skank. And then it kind of trickled into all these other things of like, I don't like women attacking women, which again, I can't emphasize this enough. This is literally what they do on The View all the time, is attack other people, men and women, of which go against their narrative or they don't like. They've called people racist. They've called people all sorts of names, xenophobe, homophobe, all sorts of stuff. So it's just rich that they're going to sit there and push this whole thing of like, they're holier than thou above the rest of us. And they've never done anything. They never said anything wrong or attacked anybody. It's truly mind boggling. So Dana comes on her show with a follow-up here and just eviscerates these co-hosts of The View. Let's go ahead and roll it.
Welcome back to the program. I'm Dana Loesch, your lovable curmudgeon. I play hardball, and if you don't like it, then you can go find a sissy, because I'm so done. I'm done with this. I'm forthright about things. I deal with this my way, and my way is not everybody's way. But I'll be damned if I sit here and use kitten and sunshine language for women who and celebrate the reckless behavior of women who treat abortion as birth control. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. So yes, when you engage in reckless promiscuity, that is skank behavior. You're behaving like a skank. Now, apparently it's bad to point out any bad behavior that anyone engages in. But that doesn't make it any less true. You think...
Is that not what I said at the beginning? Is that Sunny Hostin goes with this whole morality issue with conservatives and Republicans are like, oh, we can't say anything bad about people. But look, if based on what Dana's saying here, yeah, that would be kind of skanky, something wrong to do. I'm not giving Herschel Walker just a free pass here, but we're focusing in on what was being said about the woman. Sure, Herschel Walker, if it were true, right, there's plenty of blame to be had on that side as well. But based on kind of how Dana's picturing it here, she's not exactly wholeheartedly wrong. I'm not saying I would use the word skank, but, hey, what was said was said.
that if you think that the word is a negative, it is, because it's being applied to a negative behavior. And it goes for men just as well as women. But I'm going to add this caveat, because I have seen so often for so many years, after decades of telling men that they have no rights in this matter, after decades of saying that it is not their body, therefore it is not their choice, it is very interesting to now see these same women demand for men's accountability.
Damn. What do you say to that, folks? She's not wrong. Oh, man. I mean, the 1-2 punch is happening there. You got to love it. And again, truthfully, it's not hard to sit there and call out the hypocrisy of the left and just finding all the little holes in what they say each and every week. And they push it upon not just our children, but also people in college and adults thereafter. She's not wrong here, folks. Not wrong.
You got to pick a narrative here, ladies. And so to reiterate, yes, I acknowledge bad behavior. I don't use cute, cuddly language to describe the reckless behavior of promiscuous females who decide to retcon their conception and use abortion as birth control. And if that offends you more than the actual murder of the life that they created, you need to check your soul.
Dang, you go, Dana. I'll tell you, girl, she still has it. You know what I mean? I first was spotlighted on her when she was the NRA spokesperson. And damn, she has her stuff together, folks. Look, she's not wrong. Like I said, I wouldn't have chosen the words, but people might say, hey, you know what? When you're in the moment, you're going to say what you're going to say, and it doesn't make you any less wrong. So there you have it. Dana doing the 1-2 punch there, just wiping out the whole panel of The View in 1 minute or less, which again just shows you where conservatives and Republicans are compared to the progressive left in terms of arguments, logic, and reason. I hope you enjoyed that clip from the Bald Brad Show. If you did, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on all our future content.